Here we go. So Chris, I mean, I know you served in the military. I know you've been with Santa Clara, on a force for 15 plus years. But yeah, so what makes you qualified of being a leader? What makes you qualified of being a sheriff?
Well, number one, I'm a born leader. I've been a public servant for most of my adult life. I've served in the United States Army for 5 years, and I've been with the Santa Clara County Sheriff's Office for 20 years. So that alone makes me, in my opinion, extremely qualified for this position.
Now, personally, what gives you the desire? I mean, unfortunately, I'm not blessed to have spent that much time in law enforcement. I would have loved to. It was my dream to have a long career as a law enforcement officer. So I don't have the type of insight you have and everything like that. But, I do understand law enforcement. I have tons of families on both sides of the fence, so great. All that stuff. But I mean, why personally? The headaches, the BS, the preliminary bullshit that you're going to have to play, the games and all that crap and everything. So why personally bring this upon yourself and your family?
Well, first and foremost, I'm not a politician by any means. And I am currently the only candidate that's working on the line in the trenches, for lack of a better word. I see like you said, I see what's going on a daily basis, and I see the good and I see the bad. And unfortunately, it's mostly the bad that's brought to the public, and the public doesn't get to see the good in anything that we do. And we have a lot of great deputies, 1,200 deputies. And for me, there have been just so many times I've come home from work and upset and just absolutely disgusted with the retaliation and upset with the leadership or the lack of leadership that we have. And I've come home in tears. And what better way for me to give back and to change things in our agency and change the culture in the agency, but to run for sheriff.
Well, I mean, I can't argue with that. Why complain unless you're going to get in there and do something about it? So, do you think you're prepared to actually take on this onslaught? I mean, you're not only going to be under scrutiny on everything you do, but your family also. You have amazing 3 incredible daughters. You have an amazing husband. So, how do they feel about this? I mean, this is your decision, but it wasn't their decision. How do you feel about that?
I feel confident. My husband and I, we sat down and we've talked with them, had the discussions that it's going to be hard, and mom's name maybe come up in bad ways, but I have all their support. I have the support from most of the deputies at work who are too afraid to come out and say that they support me because of the retaliation. I have the support from my husband, the support from, I'm a professional bodybuilder, so I have a lot of support from the professional bodybuilding world and the LGBTQ community. I have a lot of support from a lot of special interest groups. Of course, my husband is Asian, so the Asian community, like I said, the LGBTQ community, the teachers, a lot of progressive, a lot of liberal Democrat teachers that support me as well. So that alone, knowing that I have that much support, it makes it easier knowing that I have a lot of shoulders to lean on and a lot of people to go to help me out.
All right, so you have a lot of support, but there's a very negative tone towards police officers nowadays. You mentioned your husband being Asian. There's a negative tone for Asian people against police officers. There's, I'm Black. There's a very negative tone. How do you plan on bridging that gap? That blue blood versus community.
And that is one of the key issues with our current sheriff, is that there is no bridge between all these special interest groups, especially with our surrounding police departments. The other agencies, the other police departments, they do not have a relationship with the sheriff's office, and we need that relationship 100% before we can make the community feel better about us in policing as a whole.
So I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna ask you one last question, and then I'm gonna offer the floor to you to speak to all your viewers who might be listening to this. People who are on the fence, people that don't know about you. But my last question is your wish list. If you made it and you became the next Santa Clara, sheriff officer, um, what would you change?
That's a really good question. There's
I
so
know.
many
Thank you.
things. There's so many things that need to be changed. Um, the biggest change would be community outreach.
Hmm.
And I can't, and I hate to say just one thing, and I do have to throw in the second thing is also reaching out to my deputies.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We have 1,200 deputies that rely on the confidence of the sheriff's office. And right now it's embarrassing what's happening. And I want to be the person to lead the way, to get them where they need to be, to give them the confidence, to know there's no retaliation. And the same with the community. I want the community to feel safe. And I want the other surrounding police departments to be one of us. We're all brothers and sisters in blue. So we need to be together in blue.
Right. That was always one of my greatest fears when I went through academy and when I worked in the jail system for a short period of time. That was always one of my greatest fears, the retaliation of trying to do good versus kind of having old timers who's been there for a while and them retaliating against me, whether I get docked or, maybe, maybe sometimes the jail door opened accidentally when I'm in a certain area that it should never open. So how do you make it where it's a comfortable environment where a person can speak up, because it's called the snitch on the street, right? But it's called not bleeding blue, for you guys. So how do you bridge that gap?
Well, fortunately, my deputies that I currently oversee right now, they know that I'm not about the retaliation.
How many
And
deputies are you overseeing currently, Chris?
we have 80, between 70 to 80 on a team. And I have
Okay.
two sergeant partners as well.
Okay.
But like I said, we have 1,200 deputies in total, including the enforcement side and the custody side. So the deputies that I've overseen in the past, the current deputies I oversee right now, they know that I am not about the retaliation. They know that they can come to talk with me in full confidence, and I will not leak any information, divulge any information. And I want to keep that same door open. If when I'm sheriff, if you want to come and talk with me to say hello, to just have a conversation, there is not going to, you don't have to go to the chain of command just to come knock on my door and say hello. And I'm not going to hide away in an office. I'm going to go down to the deputy's level as much as I can and speak with everybody. There's that old cliche, 2 heads are better than 1, 5 heads are better than 3. Well, 1,200 heads are
Wow.
better than 4.
Wow.
I'm not going to take advice and get opinions just from 4 people. When I have a pool of 1,200, I'll be out and about and digging my deputy, picking their brains, and to get they have great ideas. Why not use them to get the great ideas instead of just the 4 people that are currently being used right now, all the assistant sheriffs?
Well, Chris, listen, I was so excited when I heard that you were going to take this, because I know before this you were thinking of retiring and you're looking at homes in different areas and moving away and everything. And when I heard this, I was a little shocked, but I'm like, wow, who better? Because I know you personally, I know your character, I know how you think about things and how you care about things. So I'm so excited and I'm so honored to have you going off and doing this. And I know it's not an easy task. I mean, there's going to be some incredible backlash, from your brothers and sisters and forces, and even you being a woman and having another woman who's currently sheriff now. Like, what makes you think you're going to be better than this next woman? So I'm so honored to call you my little, my friend, my sister. I want to go on record and say I support you 1 billion%, and I'm going to post this on my Instagram. Not like I have a big time follower and everything, but I want to post this, and I want to join. I want any of my brothers and sisters in bodybuilding, current law enforcement on one side of the fence or the other, reach out to me if you want to support Chris, or if you want to do a video like this. So, Chris, I'm going to give you however much time you need. And I want you to look into the camera and you're just talking to the audience. You're talking to everyone. You're talking to the naysayers. You're talking to the male chauvinist pigs who think that women should just be barefooted in the kitchen bearing babies. You're talking to, people who don't think women can be a leader. You're talking to, ex-cons who've been mistreated. You're talking to people like me who've been a law enforcement officers and had guns drawn down on me for no reason. You're talking to all those peoples, and you're talking to your supporters. You're talking to people who don't know nothing about who in the F is Chris. You're looking at the camera right now. How do you tell them? How do you seal this deal?
I'm one of you. I was born and raised in a small town in Pennsylvania, couldn't make ends meet in college, joined the military because of my sex, because I'm a woman, I could not get promoted. I took a leap of faith, moved out here to California. I continued my journey in law enforcement, signed up with the sheriff's office. I've been here for 20 years. I know what it's like. I know what it's like to feel retaliated against because I'm a woman, because I said the wrong thing. I know what it's like to have a family who is poor. I know. I represent the diversity that is Santa Clara County. I represent all of you. We need a sheriff that looks like us and understands us and represents us, and us meaning the diversity of Santa Clara County of California. And that's why I'm running for sheriff, because I want to be there for all of you, because I know what it's like. And I know how I can make the change in the culture that is currently running in the sheriff's office at this point.
Beautiful. You know what? I know how busy you are. I can't imagine the tension and onslaught that you have to take on with doing all this. So thank you so much for taking your time out to do this little interview with me. And as I said to everyone, you have my fullest support. You almost make me want to move back to California and Southern Clara area so I can support you even more. So thank you so much. God bless you and God bless your family. And thank you for your rawness and your honesty, because everybody knows I'm a big crybaby. Crying isn't a weakness, it's a feeling. And thanks for showing your vulnerability. I know, there's a stigma, women are weak and women cry and all that, but that's all BS. We need to upbring our kids, our women, our men, to let them know about having real feelings and real emotions. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a strength. It's not a weakness. So thank you so much, Chris. Any more I can ever do for you and your family, I'm just a phone call away.
I know. Thank you, Flex. I appreciate it. I love you.
Love you too, sweetheart.